First thing we have is St. John's Fire District bonds public hearing.
Notice is hereby given that the County Council of Charleston County is considering whether St. John's Fire District, South Carolina, shall be authorized to issue not exceeding $24,500,000 aggregate principal amount of general obligation bonds of the district.
Thank you. Is there anyone here to speak on that? Okay. Let's see. Ms. Weathers is present. There's no questions, so that makes it easy. Okay, now we'll go to our public comments.
We have 15 people signed up. The first person is Thomas Tisdale, followed by Al Chisholm, and then Lewis Hay.
Good afternoon. Thank you for letting me speak. Again, I respectfully ask that my property, my parents' property in the Gadsdenville area, that you would consider rezoning us back to R4. We're going through the process of going through the rezoning through Charleston County. Unfortunately, yes, there were some rezoning meetings that we did miss as a family due to some personal issues and my parents' health. I wrote everybody a personal letter trying to state that, and I'm trying to actually reach out to all of you all to discuss it. So we're just asking that you will consider respectfully. It was something that was promised. We just couldn't make it due to personal issues, and I'd be happy to discuss what those issues are with you all one-on-one. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Tisdale.
Al Chisholm, Lewis Hay, Legree Clement.
Good evening.
Sure.
My name is Al Chisholm. I've been a resident of Walmart Island for 37 years.
Mr. Chisholm, can you give us your address, please?
1586 Truck Farm Road,
Thank you.
Walmart Island. Like I said, I've been a resident for 37 years, which is all my life. To the board members, city council, thank you all for having us. Thank you to Mr. Darby Pryor and Mr. Middleton for your support and your efforts and leadership to place the 10-year moratorium on the settlement communities. And I'm just here to ask, can we please just leave my home, my city, Watermelon Island, just the way it is? The roads don't support the development on the island. The community doesn't as well. Watermelon is all we have left when it comes to community, peace, quietness, and historic rural landscapes. A lot of us survive off of fishing, farming, outdoors in general. Our development on the island can cause contamination for our waterways that we rely on. I know you might say, well, the targeted property for the development is not ours to begin with, but it's effect that all we have on our community is what we don't want. For example, we have neighborhoods. If you have neighborhoods in $1 million homes, they're going to increase our taxes. We don't want the traffic. We don't want the housing developments. We don't want the developments at all. We especially don't want higher property taxes, and we just want our only place, our peace, our home to stay exactly the way it is. I'm a firm believer of if it's not broke, don't fix it. And here I hold the death certificate of my great-great-grandma, Phoebe Chisholm. She lived up to 124 years old, and she stood on this, and I know she's proud of me right now for being here. Our community, which I know about 60% of the people in here, and they feel the same way I do also. So just coming on Watermelon and that landscape over the highways, it's just the only place we have left that when you come to the city, it feels like home. So just ask that you all take that in consideration, and hope everyone else in here feel the same way I feel.
Thank you,
Thank you.
sir. Appreciate it.
Louis Hay.
Thanks for your time and your hard work. My first item is I beg you to support and look at carefully this moratorium idea. I think it probably would help give us a pause, give you a chance to get your arms around what's needed before a lot more development comes in. I think it's a good idea. But my main issue tonight has to do with the comprehensive plan and the provision in it for double dipping in some of the rural areas. The Wadmalaw plan was written 35 years ago. That was before there was a comprehensive plan. And the state came along and said, if you have zoning of any kind, you've got to have a plan. So Charleston County complied and put together a comprehensive plan. And then the state says, if you have a comprehensive plan, you have to revise it every 10 years and you have to review it every 5 years. So we've had 3 revisions and 3 reviews, and what this means is that things creep in when you're not paying attention. In this business of allowing double dipping is a bad idea. It was a bad idea 35 years ago. It was a bad idea 10 years ago. It's a bad idea now. Your constituents know that. We know that. Your planning staff knows that. Your planning board, whom you appointed, knows that. And you should get the message. In the 35 years that we've been coming and talking to county council, I just looked around at these pictures. My quick estimation is that 50 to 60 people have sat in your chairs over those 35 years. So we've had on your team 5 first strings up against us. And it's the same old team we keep bringing year after year after year. And I know some of y'all are tired of seeing our faces. Trust me, you're tired too. This needs to be fixed. Fix it tonight at this meeting, and I'll try not to come back and bother you anymore.
Hey, Mr. Hayes.
Legree Clement, Duncan Townsend, Michael Kearney.
Mr. Clement, please give us your address.
Yeah, I'm Legree Clement. My address is 1310 Cypress Campground Road in Ridgeville, South Carolina. And as I said, I'm Legree Clement, and I'm president of the Exchange Club of Charleston. We are here tonight because we've been advised that Charleston County Council will authorize or approve CARTA using eminent domain to take our private property. That's why we're now appealing to you as county council. As you know, CARTA wants to take 6 acres of privately owned land belonging to the Exchange Club Fair. The land is 1,000 feet of road frontage on Highway 78 at the entrance to Exchange Park, the fairgrounds, the main entrance between gates 1 and 2. To design and build new entrances will be an expense of $1.5 to $1.8 million for each gate that we have to move. We'll have to change the entire footprint of the fairgrounds. As I understand it, eminent domain is used for roadways and easements, not taking private property for park and rides and bus hubs. Our club understands eminent domain. This is our second time we've had to battle it. 40 plus years ago, the fairgrounds on Dorchester Road were taken for I-526. It seems Charleston County sees the Exchange Club as their land bank. The fair and its charities we support are at risk if CARTA seizes the property they want. Several months ago, we offered a compromise of a lease of 6 acres a little further down Highway 78 that will meet CARTA's needs and not affect our main entrance. They have not responded, offered to negotiate, or even acknowledged our offer. We're asking County Council to instruct CARTA to negotiate on our lease offer or to look at other locations. Taking private property for a bus stop is un-American. Encourage CARTA to negotiate on our offer or else buy us.
Thank you.
Duncan Townsend, Michael Kearney, Sheila Middleton.
Good evening. My name is Duncan Townsend. I'm an officer of the Exchange Club of Charleston and of the Coastal Carolina Fair. And we are here, as Legree said, to force CARTA to accept. We asked this council to force CARTA to accept the compromise made by the Exchange Club to resolve the dispute over the land being used at the park for a parking ride. The Exchange Club of Charleston has a 100-year history of volunteering tens of thousands of hours and donating over $10 million to support over 500 charities in this community. These are worthy charities. However, in spite of a century-long stellar reputation of service above self for this community, CARTA, led by Mr. Seekings, wants to take the most important parking lot at the fairgrounds. It's right at our front door. If he is successful, his action will do serious damage to the operations of the fair and in turn harm the charities that we support every year. In the spirit of compromise, the fair offered to lease a 6-acre parcel just 600 yards up Highway 78. It's the same size parcel with the same Highway 78 access. It meets Carter's requirements. However, this parcel will not disrupt the operations of the fair, and it will not harm the charities that we support. We offered this common sense, reasonable compromise, and it needs your support. We are asking you to force CARTA to act in good faith, accept this offer, and resolve this land dispute now. Thank you.
Thank you.
Michael Kearney, Sheila Middleton, Louise Maybank.
Good afternoon. My name is Michael Kearney. I've been with the Exchange Club of Charleston for 18 years. Back in October of 2022, we tried to make an offer to CARTA on the same 6 acres that they mentioned before that would not interrupt the operations of our fair. We got no response. A few months ago, we made another offer to lease them the property. Again, we got no response. The 6 acres that they're talking about taking is our prime parking area. We turned that parking area over 2 to 3 times on a Saturday and Sunday. We estimate that we're going to lose between 35 and 45,000 patrons, which is going to have a drastic effect on the amount of money that we raise to help support the Charleston community, which we have been doing since 1957. So we are asking Charleston County Council to find out why CARTA decided to take our prime parking area instead of looking at an alternative that would not have such a drastic impact on our ability to meet the obligations that we have taken on since 1957. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sheila Middleton, Louis Maybank, Stephen Slan.
Good evening, Sheila Middleton, 6650 Maybank Highway, Ward-Malheur Island. We are asking you today to please remove the bonus density from the comprehensive plan that would affect the AG 15 property. As Louis said, we have a land plan on Ward-Malheur that has been in existence for over 35 years, and it is a 2-time award-winning land plan. So it looks like we might be doing something pretty good by having it win so much awards. We ask that we keep Ward-Malheur as rural as possible. As Al said, it's a beautiful place, and we have to be the gatekeepers. We are stewards. We are not going to, this land will not go with us, so we must preserve. We can preserve our culture as well as we can preserve the land, and you can actually come to some place where you can see some trees, you know, together, and you can see the beauty of the land. So we just beg you, we implore you that you do not add this bonus density. This bonus sounds like when you're working for an office and they give you a pizza party, but you need a raise. So we definitely do not want this. So we ask that you keep the land rural. And as you can tell, as Louis said, Ward-Malheur will come out and support our issues. Could you raise your hands if you're in support for Ward-Malheur and keeping it rural? And I'm sure if there's any overflow upstairs, there's a lot of Ward-Malheur too. And we will come out. As I said before, we will keep on coming out because we love the land, we have a connection to the land, and we want others to enjoy that and have that type of atmosphere too. Thank you.
Thank you.
Louise Maybank, Stephen Slan, Leroy Lennon.
Mr. Chair, before the next person comes, is there indeed an overflow?
There is.
There is.
They're downstairs.
How many people, I wonder?
There was only 5 when we started sending them downstairs, but I'm not sure.
Thank you. Ms. Maybank?
Good evening, and thank you for the opportunity to be here. And I am one of those folks that have been coming for 35 years, along with Lewis that he referred to, following the land planning of Wadmalaw very carefully. There are 2 unique things about Wadmalaw that I would like to mention. One is that it's its geography. It's an island. It has 1 bridge on and 1 bridge off, and because of that, there's no pass-through. You either are there for some reason or you're not there. The other is the zoning, which we have referred to, the AG 15 and the AGR. And the AGR 1-acre lots are our settlement areas out on the island. They're scattered all around the island, and they're protected by the AG 15 because they're buffered. And the request for doubling the density on the AG 15 will put pressure on those AGRs and the settlement areas and the culture and everything that you've heard and will hear. And so for 2 reasons, you need to leave Wadmalaw alone. One is the geography, of which there's no alternate other than a bridge across the North Edisto River. And the other is because the zoning that has been in place for 35 years is working. It has the support of all of the people of most of the people on the island, as you can see from who's in this room tonight, and it doesn't need to be altered. And thank you very much.
Thank you.
Stephen Slan, Leroy Lennon, Melinda Kelly.
Good evening, council members, clergy, and my fellow residents of Wadmalaw Island and my family that are here right now. I have been around the world, I've traveled, and I wanted to come back home to where I grew up. I was born and raised on Wadmalaw. I left for a number of decades, and now I'm back. We need to keep it the way it is. We have limited access to leave. We also have limited access coming on, and we have limited resources. I have deer, I have turkeys, I even have an armadillo that comes at night in my yard. If we start bringing in a lot of construction, where are those animals going to go? Just like on Bees Ferry Road right now. We're getting alligators getting run over, we're getting deer run over, and the poor raccoons are getting killed on the side of the road. I have a grandson. He is the 6th generation that has been on the property that I'm on now. We need to keep something historical. We need to keep it the way it looks right now. It's so beautiful when you come down the road and the sun is just about to go down when you're coming on Wadmalaw and the trees are hanging over, the moss is hanging down. It is beautiful. We know people, we can look in their yards and see if they're at home because we see their cars. We know people that are in their gardens. We know people that are fishing. If you bring 4 houses per acre on Wadmalaw, we lose all of that. There is no infrastructure set up for that many people to come. We have no resources to support that many people. You're going to kill the island if this happens. And I have fought too hard all around the world to go down without a fight. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Leroy Lennon, Melinda Kelly, Riley Bradham.
Can y'all hold your applause? I can't hear the name of the person that's being called, so please.
Leroy Lennon, Melinda Kelly, Riley Bradham.
Well, thank you, Council, for the opportunity to speak. You know, I've been a resident of Wadmalaw for 76 years. I was one of the original who put the land planning together of Wadmalaw. And all those many years has been spoken. Mr. Hay, Louis Hay, was our chair at the time. Ms. Louise Maybank, most of our original chairperson have gone. Council, you guys have supported us for these 35 years because you saw what we had. I know it's been said, Wadmalaw, if you want to see God's original creation, come to Wadmalaw. The beauty that exists on Wadmalaw. All of the animals, the deers and stuff that's been run off of Johns Island because of development, it's on Wadmalaw. So you know, it's just a beautiful place. And you know, it's just a place, Councilman, I know you guys live all over the county. So, I know you live in a crowded area, some of you live in, subdivision, et cetera. But I want to take a little break. I want to see the world, the true world. Like I said earlier about God's original plan, come to Waterloo. Just drive around. You would see, you would feel it. And we have grown to love it, a lot of our history. Guatemala, I know we've lost a lot of, I'm saying this heirs property, but those of us who realize what our forefathers and foreparents have really put together, along with our brothers who have moved on the island, we're together when it comes to Guatemala, protecting it because we see it for what it is. It's a place where, it's just, I tell you, it's just a great place to be. So I'm asking, please, all of you, continue to support Guatemala's plan, original plan. We don't need any changes. Like Brother Chancellor Chisholm says, it's good the way it is. Thank you so much.
Melinda Kelly, Riley Bradham, John Smoke.
Good evening. My name is Melinda Kelly. I live at, on Allendale Road, Guatemala. I'm the chair of the Guatemala Land Planning Committee. We are here to ask if you would please vote to do away with the bonus density. We understand that they've been in the first comprehensive plan. They were there for all these years, but there was a case that came about a few years after they were put in, and the case went to the state Supreme Court, and it was exactly on point. It said that AG 15 could not be rezoned to a PD just to change the density. And just to read from their opinion, it said, the only effect of the ordinance in this instance was to allow the property owners to reduce the lot sizes for the property, thus avoiding restrictions mandated by AG 15 zoning. And so we didn't realize that the bonus densities, we thought that case probably took them out. We never realized it. We saw it last year when the survey came along. There was a survey that the county staff put out in the public. We commented, and when we realized it, that they were still there. Please remove all bonus densities. I think we mentioned all of them on the other side of the urban growth boundary. But we have a really great diverse community, and we have a wonderful variety and diversity in our zoning and land use. I did a records request and found out, was very surprised, that there are 1,700 lots that are zoned for 1 acre development on Guatemala, 1,700 AGR lots. There are 1,076 lots zoned AG 15. And of those AG 15, of course, we have the option that people can have 3 acre lots if they touch the marsh line and come forward 1,000 feet in. So we really feel that any increase the well water, septic, traffic, additional cars, roads, creeks, please help us. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Kelly.
Riley Bradham, John Smoke, Kevin Richburg.
I want to thank the good council for its time tonight. On behalf of the town of Rockville and as its mayor, we are vehemently in favor of negating or removing this bonus density provision from our comprehensive plan. The charge or the concept providing for the bonus counters not only the spirit and the intention of the Guatemala Comprehensive Plan, but its application runs contrary to what I'd argue is established legal precedent and the county planning commission's own precedent. Our town and our island looks particularly to good Councilman Boykin, whose campaign and history is directly and proximately premised upon upholding the Guatemala Comprehensive Plan without increasing densities. And procedurally, I believe that you're able to negate this troublesome clause tonight as we sit. And so we would all ask you to do that without further delay. Thank you.
Thank you.
John Smoke, Kevin Richburg, Mitzi Lawrence.
Does that beat me and I can't even start talking yet? It's John Smoke. I live at 7111 Maybank Highway. As a Wadmalaw resident and a business owner, as chairman of the Charleston Soil and Water District, which is an elected position, as you know, I would like to go on the record to state that myself and the rest of the commissioners feel that it would be in the best interest for you guys to take the bonus density concept and remove it from the Wadmalaw Island Comprehensive Plan because our watershed can't handle it. All the studies we've seen, we're maxed out with, you know, as king tides, high tides, rain, whatever you want to call it, and Johns Island development. It's a bad idea. So I ask that you just nix this thing right now and be done with it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Kevin Richburg, Mitzi Lawrence.
I couldn't hear you.
Kevin Richburg and Mitzi Lawrence.
Good evening. I'm Kevin Richburg. I live at 6850 Bears Bluff Road, Wadmalaw Island. I'm pleased to currently serve on the Wadmalaw Island Land Planning Committee, and I'm also very happy that we have so many of our former representatives here. So many of our community has come out tonight to support us. I wanted to mention that a petition has circulated, just getting other members of our community to support our position on this, which I have here, and we'll figure out some way to get that into the proper hands. So we've had some very eloquent speakers, so that makes it easier on me. So I simply want to say that we believe the concept of the bonus densities for the rural zoning area does not reflect the spirit or intent of the urban growth boundary. And we are very pleased to have been able to participate in the comprehensive plan review and work with our planning staff. And we're also very pleased that they made the recommendation to remove that bonus density option. And we ask that you follow their recommendation and do that this evening. And again, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Mitzi Lawrence.
Good evening. My name is Mitzi Lawrence. I live at 2120 Bird's Nest Road, Wadmalaw Island. And I'm here this evening to put a face to an email that I sent to all of you members of the council this past week, just encouraging you to follow through on the recommendation of the Planning Commission, which was in December. You know, I tend not to be a very political kind of person, but like a lot of females, you know, if you do something to me, I'm not as concerned. But when you do something to my offspring, then I am very much concerned. And I'm talking about the bonus density. When you go with this, that's going to have an effect on my children, my children's children, and their children. And I'm concerned about what's going to happen with them in the future. I was not born on Wadmalaw. I was born actually at Roper Hospital. But my dad was in the Navy and we traveled around a bit. I've only been back for 5 years. I'm still remembering the times, you know, when I was visiting and spent time with my grandparents. And I'm not looking to go back to when we had, when we did not have indoor plumbing, when we didn't, you know, when we didn't have lights, when Bird's Nest Road was not. I guess I'm just concerned about what's going to happen in the future. The present, there's nothing more I can do. You know, as my late husband used to say, I have more years behind me than I do in front of me. And this is what I am concerned about. It's what's going to happen to them, and so that they can have and experience the things that I have experienced for these many years. And, you know, I was looking up something to say, and I found a title to real estate that my great-great-grandfather has, and it is dated this 5th day of February, A.D., 1904. We're talking about 120 years, and I'd like it to be in place, Wadmalaw, the way it is, idyllic, for the next 120 years. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, thank you. We will go ahead and convene County Council. Mr. Darby, you're going to lead us in a prayer.
Yes, sir. I was just taken aback. Of course, this problem is going to be resolved, sir, but should we not inform at least the fairgrounds that about we don't have any authorization? Unless I'm back out.
Well, Mr. Mitchum is willing to come to council and explain to us, and so we can continue that.
Yes, sir.
Discussion.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
I guess I'll ask Ms. Sam what authority we have over this.
Right.
I didn't think we have any authority.
Can you opine on that?
It's the question, what authority do we have over the condemnation that's happening? The county doesn't have any authority over that matter.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Let's go ahead and convene County Council. Mr. Darby, you were going to give us a prayer. And
yes. Oh, Lord.
Mr. Kabrowski, would you lead us in the pledge?
If you find it's sacrilegious to bow, Heavenly Father, we thank you now for the many blessings of life, and we ask that you guide and lead us in these tedious times, and always keep us remindful of thee, that we may give you the honor, the glory, and the blessing. Amen.
Amen. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Let some of these people file out. Okay, first item, Freedom of Information Act.
In compliance with the Freedom of Information Act, notice of meeting was posted, agendas were distributed to news media, and persons requesting notification.
Thank you. Minutes of May 7th.
To approve. Second.
Moved by Reverend Middleton, seconded by Mr. Pryor. Any questions, additions, deletions? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you very much.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve 3A and B. Second.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Reverend Middleton and Mr. Pryor. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you. EMS Director David Abrams, would you and your staff come down? You going to read?
Yes, sir. A resolution of Charleston County Council to designate the week of May 19th through 25th, 2024 as Emergency Medical Services Week. Whereas emergency medical services is a vital public service, and whereas the members of emergency medical services teams are ready to provide life-saving care to those in need 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And whereas access to quality emergency care dramatically improves the survival and recovery rate of those who experience sudden illness or injury. And whereas emergency medical services has grown to fill a gap by providing important out-of-hospital care, including preventative medicine, follow-up care, and access to telemedicine. And whereas the emergency medical services systems consist of first responders, emergency medical technicians, paramedics, emergency medical dispatchers, firefighters, police officers, educators, administrators, pre-hospital nurses, emergency physicians, trained members of the public, and other out-of-hospital medical care providers. And whereas the members of emergency medical services teams, whether career or volunteer, engage in thousands of hours of specialized training and continuing education to enhance their life-saving skills. And whereas it is appropriate to recognize the value and the accomplishments of emergency medical services providers by designating Emergency Medical Services Week. Now therefore be it resolved that in recognition of this event, Charleston County Council does hereby proclaim the week of May 19th through 25th, 2024, Emergency Medical Services Week. The theme for the 50th anniversary of EMS Week is EMS Week, honoring our past, forging our future. We encourage the community to observe this week with appropriate programs, ceremonies, and activities. Charleston County Council, Herbert R. Sass III, Chairman.
Thank you. Would you like to say something?
I'm going to be brief, but we walked in and we thought, wow, packed house, we know why you're here. Thank you for coming here to help celebrate EMS Week 2024, which is the theme nationwide is honoring our past and forging our future. And this is our future here. And I asked each one of these fine EMTs and medics if they'd like to speak, and they all went like this. So maybe next year they'll speak, because I know, like you, I would rather hear from them than hear from me. But they are the future. They are the next generation. They will lead our community in the next few years. We are going to forge together with our future and building it. But right now, we're going to build it by establishing a very strong EMS present. And in 2024, just a few months ago, we were honored with the Large EMS System of the Year Award for the state of South Carolina. We've received national attention with a lot of our programs and innovation. And this is the face of those out there doing the work. We have the largest staff that we've ever had. We have the biggest budget that we've ever had. Our folks are paid the most they've ever been paid, and we have an amazing support from the council behind you and an amazing support from the administration and the staff within the county. I cannot be more happier, if that's the word, happier, or feel more confident that we have all the stars in our line to forge to our future and to make EMS in Charleston County not just well-known, but to continue being and forging forward, being a leader in the EMS industry. And I am so proud to be a part of this county, working with the finest people. They do speak, I promise. They are an amazing group of people, the best that the nation has to offer, and they're right here in our community. I'm so thankful and grateful for each one of you, for all the work you do 24/7. You guys do an amazing job. So hats off to the top. This is Lee's she's doing third person ride time, so she's one of our newest employees, still getting the feathers wet, drying and stuff. So thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank y'all. All right, would Emergency Management Deputy Director Ben Webster and staff come down, please?
Mr. Chairman, we're pleased to recognize tonight the Charleston County Emergency Management Department. They have earned their reaccreditation by the Emergency Management Accreditation Program. That's a nationally recognized voluntary review process that evaluates emergency management programs' compliance with a rigorous set of national standards. And Charleston County Emergency Management is one of just 3 agencies in the state of South Carolina that holds this distinction.
Thank you, Ben. Great job y'all have done. Y'all had a rigorous 66 step process you had to go through, and y'all were one of 6 emergency management agencies that got selected. So I think that's a real honor. We're very proud of you. Would you like to say anything?
Absolutely. So from Charleston County Emergency Management, thank you for having us here today. I want to introduce some of our team. Heather Howell, Senior Emergency Management Specialist, Patrick Collison, Emergency Management Specialist, and Owen Butcher, Emergency Management Specialist, who also serves as our accreditation manager. This accreditation was completely and 100% voluntary and was a reaccreditation. We are absolutely committed to excellence in disaster preparedness and response to the citizens and residents of Charleston County, and this just shows that. As we mentioned, we are one of 3 agencies in the county that is accredited through EMAT in the state of South Carolina. We appreciate the support of County Council on this, from our county administrator as well, and from all of the department heads and DCAs that were available to volunteer to be able to meet with the assessors and to be able to show our program off, not only as county EMD, but as county as a whole. So thank you again.
Thank you.
Ben, these are, those are for your staff, yeah.
Yeah. Thank you all very much. All right, next item, third reading ordinance.
I'd like to pull 4B.
Third reading ordinances.
I'd like to pull 4B, make a motion.
Hold on a second. We're going to do 4A first. 4A, St. John's Fire District Obligation Bonds, ordinance, third reading.
An ordinance authorizing the St. John's Fire District, South Carolina, to issue not exceeding $24,500,000 aggregate principal amount of general obligation bonds, providing for the publication of notice of the said finding and authorization, and providing for other matters related thereto. Mr. Boykin?
Aye.
Mr. Darby? Aye. Mrs. Honeycutt is absent. Mr. Kabrowski?
Aye.
Mr. Middleton?
Aye.
Mr. Moody?
Aye.
Mr. Pryor?
Aye.
Mr. Werman?
Aye.
Mr. Sass?
Aye.
The ordinance passes third reading with 8 ayes and 1 absent.
Thank you, ma'am. Comprehensive
Mr.
Plan
Chair, I'd
5-year
like to
review,
make
Mr.
a
Boykin.
Mr. Chair, I would like to move to amend the, for Planning Commission recommendation to remove the higher density in the land use element of the comprehensive plan.
I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded by Mr. Kabrowski.
So let's be perfectly clear.
Yes, sir.
For everyone.
So this removes it, just a planning commission recommendation, or it goes back to its original? Because I heard some of the folks said they want to remain at its original, so what are we voting on?
This is to remove
The
the
density.
bonus
Remove,
density.
but is this the planning commission recommendation?
That's
Yes.
Yes.
All right, so is
To
this what
read-
people want, the planning commission recommendation? All right, I'm fine with that. If that's what they want, I'm fine with it.
Let's read the planning commission recommendation so that we can hear that
Yes.
before we vote.
I'll have to get the planning commission recommendation and I can read it for you.
Okay, we'll wait.
Yes, sir.
Why don't we continue discussion while Mrs.
Okay,
Salisbury's
is there any
looking that up?
discussion? Mr. Werman?
I mean, I'll just say, and I understand the confusion because I know a lot of folks talked about keeping things as they are. I will just say I understood that to mean let's keep the island as it is, but actually change the comp plan to remove the bonus densities because those are in it currently as we stand here. So
Right.
I think that folks were consistent. I'm seeing some head nods. I'm not going to try and get everybody to come back up here individually, but I'm taking that as some affirmation of.
You are correct, Mr. Ware.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Kabrowski?
Well, first I want to thank each and every one of you who came out tonight to remind us what our job is, and is to preserve what's unique and special and honor the sacrifices of generations that came before us and help preserve what's unique and special about living here. And thank you each and every one for taking the time to come from Guatemala and Rockville. That meant a lot. And I'd just like to say I feel just like you, that every day that we see what we love and cherish about living here disappear. And this is a way, I hope it's, as I assume, I hope we vote to take the density bonuses out, and I hope this inspires people all over the county to do just what you've done tonight, to come and fight to preserve what they love and not let us be overdeveloped and change into something that none of us wants. And you are to be congratulated for coming and keep involved and help inspire others to do exactly what you've done. So thank you again.
Any further discussion?
2 points. Firstly, I want to thank Mr. Kabrowski from the very beginning for having the clairvoyance and the foresight to negate this measure. He was up front first, and I must applaud him and what he championed, because he doesn't live on that side of the river. He lives over there. But for him to evince this type of concern for his neighbors is it's very credulous, and I appreciate that, sir, because
Thank you,
again,
Henry.
you were up front with this, and I have to give you credit where credit is due. Some years ago, I mentioned to, I don't know how to pronounce the term, the Watermalloians, is that the correct term? And hats off to the 37-year-old brother who spoke. Thank you so very much, man. Continue. I hope you run for office one day. But what I would like to say is, this council has been good to you. And in the future, it may not always be good to you. It would be a wonderful thing if Watermallow can become its own town, that you would be the masters of your fate. Because this council may not always be good to you. And I would I would suggest that you start now. It may take 5, 10, 15 years, but you ought to become your own town so you would not have to come back here anymore. So please consider your own town council, your own administrator, your own mayor. I think in Rockville is a clear example of how Watermallow could be formed to have its own town. So it's just a suggestion. I've been saying it now for the past 10 years, and hopefully one day somebody will listen.
Mr. Boykin?
Mr. Darby, I would remind you of the Planning and Public Works Committee meeting that we had, and I was the one that asked to strike this language to begin with and lost 5-3, and you abstained from that vote.
Okay, well, not to take anything from you, Mr. Boykin, but you also came back with a type of compromise as well. So.
Mr. Chair, can we?
I don't want to get the.
Mr.
the
Chair,
egg,
can
so
we
to speak.
read the Planning Commission language so that we stay on track?
I have it.
Okay, we have it.
However, excuse me, Mr. Chairman. Excuse me, Mr. Chairman. If it wasn't at front, Mr. Boykin, I sincerely apologize, because that's not the purpose, sir. That's not the purpose. Not at all, sir. But speak to Mr. Gabrowski or whatnot. Well, let me say he brought it to my forefront first, along with some others. So again, not to take anything away from you, sir. Not at all. So please, sir, forgive me, sir.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, the recommendation of the Planning Commission was to recommend approval to amend Table 3.1.1, future land use residential densities, to remove the bonus densities in Wadmalaw Island agricultural preservation, and rural agriculture future land use categories. That's just their recommendation regarding these bonus
Thank you
densities.
so much.
Thank you. Mr.
Thank
Moody.
you, Mr. Sass. Mr. Boykin, I'm going to support this tonight. My concern is the process this happened. I think if you were in the loop early, the Planning Commission, they kind of throw this in on the third reading and then it lands on us. And you had to figure out a way to get something because you were dead. But you kept at it and you engaged me, and I appreciate the information you gave me. So I'm going to support you on this.
Thank you.
My bigger concern is how many Mr. Tisdales are out there. We learned last meeting, and this has nothing to do with Wadmalaw. We learned last meeting we've done $65 million worth of good deeds in housing in this county. And then you start downzoning and moratoriums and all that stuff. And this council's starting to lose its footing on housing, starting to lose its voice on the ability to deal with housing when it's so damaging people's property rights. So that's just my 2 cents for tonight. But Mr. Boykin, I'm going to support you on this tonight. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Pryor?
Mr. Chairman, thank you. Mr. Moody, I totally disagree with you, because if you look at the ordinance that I wanted to go forward, it says any application that's in right now would not be affected by this, okay? And so to say that we are hurting developers, we're not hurting developers, because the applicants that's already out there, they're grandfathered in. But when these folks come to us and they ask for help and says they're being overran and overdeveloped, we as a town council, mayor, council members must do something to help these folks. Now, there's only 3 historic communities that would be affected by this. Beesfield, Phillips Community, and 10 Mile. So it's not the whole entire county, so I don't want everybody to go screaming, oh, the house is on fire, because the house is not on fire. And to Mr. Tisdale's point, he has a right, as this council did, and I made sure that that was in there, that anybody wanted to opt out of the S4, S3 zoning could go through the planning commission. Now, had he did this up front, he wouldn't have to go through the planning commission, our staff, because he would automatically be let out. So I don't want people to get misinformation, because what you just said just now is not perfectly accurate. He can still come out. He's in the process of doing that right now, but he said that this whole audience, he had family issues they were dealing with. And so me as one, if he comes back and wants to go back to his original zoning, R4, I will let him do that, because that's what the process. So I don't want people to think that we're trying to stop folks. They still can subdivide their land among each other. Family members can do that. That's not hurting them. But these big developments is coming in, we got to take a stance and do something, because they're using our infrastructure, they're using our schools, and they're overdeveloping our roads. And if we don't do anything, the people like these folks and us, we are paying for that, because these developers are coming for profit and they flip it and they move. So it's only 2 or 3 ways to do that. You can put an impact fee on every door and force these folks to pay that, or either you mandate that any new construction that comes in has to be paid for by the developer when it comes to roads and infrastructure. And then they turn it over to us based on the county's standard. So there's ways to get around this, and this is not new, and this is not going to affect affordable housing. I think this will help affordable housing. Because if the market keeps going the way it's going now, affordable housing is going to be out. I don't know if you saw the article the other day in the paper, but a family making $52,000 now in the city of Charleston is considered the lower class. Not middle class, lower class. So $52,000, and somebody can't even live in the city of Charleston because they're considered poor. $52,000 years ago was a lot of money. My first house was $35,000. We're trying to buy one right now. Okay, so we got to try to do things to help these folks. I know we all want to do that. And we got one of the stellar affordable housing program in this state. And why? Because this council had the foresight to make something happen and see it done. Many of us fought this before it came, but when they saw it coming into fruition, we all grabbing a hold to it now. So this is my 2 cents.
Mr. Werman, and then Mr. Kaprowski.
I was maybe going to call the question. I was just going to say that just to be clear for everybody, and I agree with everything you said, Mr. Pryor, but we touched on about 7 different issues that aren't part of this agenda item.
Of course.
This most certainly is not restricted to Beefield, 10 Mile, and Phillips. This is dealing with, obviously, Wadmalaw and other areas and the comp plan. So I side with you on all of that, but I do think we might be getting a little far afield. Someone urged us to get these bonus densities out as quick as possible, so I'm ready to do that whenever y'all are.
Let's get it done.
I wanted to make one brief point. Make it very quick. I just want to make it clear, since it came up, I want to thank and praise Mr. Pryor in every way possible for what he came up with on the moratorium. He gave hope to not only the people here, but for all of us over the county who see us overdeveloped, over concrete, and losing again what we love about living here. And he gave us hope that we can fight back and stop that. So I want to thank you in every way I can, sir, for coming up with the idea and giving us hope that we can fight back and maintain and cherish what we love living here about. Thank you.
Thank you. I think it's time to call for the vote. Ms. Salisbury?
Do you want me to
Do you need to read it first?
Well, we need to vote on the motion to amend.
Okay, let's vote on the motion to amend. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you.
That was unanimous.
I want to explain what has happened in the
Okay, and then here's the third reading of the ordinance. An ordinance approving the amendment of the Charleston County Comprehensive Plan text and maps provisions to implement the 5-year review with the right to amend up to third reading, which you just did. Mr. Boykin?
Aye.
Mr. Darby? Mrs. Honeycutt's absent. Mr. Kabrowski?
Aye.
Mr. Middleton?
Aye.
Mr. Moody?
Aye.
Mr. Pryor?
Yes.
Mr. Werman?
Yes.
Mr. Sass?
Aye.
The ordinance passes third reading as amended with 8 ayes and 1 absent.
I know.
Yes, sir. I guess she didn't, which she had her daughter's award ceremony, and so I think it was hard for her to get on anyway.
That's the end of the. That's what I think. That's how we got so we can finish their business.
Thank you. They'll listen to you, they won't listen to me.
Okay, all right. All right.
Have a crowd in front of you.
Ready to roll? All right, all right. Number 5, second reading ordinances. City of Charleston transfer of election authority.
An ordinance authorizing the St. John's Fire Okay. Sorry. An ordinance approving and accepting the complete transfer of authority to conduct municipal elections for the City of Charleston to the Board of Elections and Voter Registration of Charleston County. Mr. Boykin?
Aye.
Mr. Darby is absent. Mrs. Honeycutt's absent. Mr. Kabrowski?
Aye.
Mr. Middleton?
Aye.
Mr. Moody?
Aye.
Mr. Pryor? Mr. Werman?
Yes.
Mr. Sass? The ordinance passes second reading with 7 ayes and 2 absent at the time of voting.
Thank you. Next one.
Move for approval items 6A through 6D.
Moved by Mr.
Second.
Pryor, seconded by Reverend
To amend
Middleton.
up to third reading.
6A through 6D with the right to
Adopt the
amend
third
up to
reading on
third
all
reading
ordinances.
on all 4.
Got us discussed.
Been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion or any discussion about one of these items at all?
Just
No, sir.
6D.
Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the ayes have it. Thank you.
What,
I think Mr. Kabrowski had some
I'm sorry,
discussion
Mr.
for D.
Kabrowski. Did you have a question on one of them?
aye and 6A, B, and C. I just wanted to discuss 6D very briefly.
Okay, well, let's discuss 6B. Well, which one you want?
6B or D?
6C?
Right.
6D as in dog.
D.
Yeah, I think this is the one you were asking Mr. Dykes about the other day.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and you can't disclose the name,
Right.
basically because of the confidentiality clause when you're signing this agreement. Yes, sir.
I just wanted to say again why I respect Mr. Sykes, but I just wanted to reiterate that without naming it, and I don't, and giving such a tax break in a sensible way that I couldn't vote for. This-
So you want to pull that one out and we'll vote on that one?
He can just vote no on D.
Just vote no, and
Okay.
we can be done. No
At
reason.
some point, it is going to come out, once the.
It will come out before third
Yes.
reading.
Right.
It has to come out before
Sure.
third reading per our
We'll,
ordinance.
we'll do a public hearing on this in a couple
Okay.
of meetings, and
Okay.
the name will come out.
Okay.
It has to come out
Yeah.
by the time of that public hearing.
All right, let's just move on then.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah.
First
Mr.
one.
Chair, move to approve 7A through.
We got to read, we got to do.
An ordinance rezoning the real property located at 1594 Joe Rouse Road, a .07 acre portion of a parcel identification number 583000016 from the Special Management S3 zoning district to the Rutledge Tomb Site Plan Development PD 189 zoning district with the right to amend up to third reading. An ordinance amending the Charleston County Comprehensive Plan, map 3.1.13, Ashley River Road Corridor Overlay Zoning District, to amend the zoning and future land use designation for the real property located at 2177 Ashley River Road, parcel identification number 35412000006, from neighborhood commercial designation to community commercial designation, with the right to amend up to third reading. An ordinance amending the Charleston County Zoning and Land Development Regulations, ordinance number 1202, as amended, Chapter 5, Overlay and Special Purpose Zoning Districts, map 5.10 and map 5.10.C, to amend the zoning designation for the real property located at 2177 Ashley River Road, parcel identification number 35412000006, from the neighborhood commercial designation to community commercial designation, with the right to amend up to third reading. And finally, an ordinance authorizing the execution and delivery of a fee in lieu of tax agreement by and between Charleston County and an entity currently known to the county as Project Stripe, including any related or affiliated entities and any sponsor affiliates, whereby Charleston County will enter into a fee in lieu of taxes arrangement with Project Stripe, providing for payment by Project Stripe of certain fees in lieu of ad valorem taxes, providing for certain special source revenue or infrastructure credits under the agreement for establishment of multi-county industrial business park, and other matters relating thereto.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
Next item,
Mr.
consent
Chair,
agenda.
Move to approve A through D, maybe, if individuals have issue with the library budget.
I'd second it to go A through E.
A through E?
Yes.
I think Reverend Middleton said D.
Well, if people feel good about the library budget, A through E.
Okay. So A through E. Any discussion on any of these items? Hearing none. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you very much. Number 8.
Through F.
Moved by Reverend Middleton, seconded by Mr. Boykin. A through F. Any discussion on any one of them? Hearing none. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you very much. Council comments. Let's start out with Mr. Werman.
Nothing for me tonight, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Mr. Pryor?
I'm gonna just say, Mr. Chair, that's one thing about when you're in council, when you get something wrong and the spread of doing it right, that makes it good. Sometimes we make mistakes, but when we come back and we correct those mistakes, that's what we're supposed to do. We all unified. There's no big I, no little you, but it's all for the people. And so I commend this council on tonight for getting what was wrong right and give these folks a sense of easement so now they can go lay their head down their pillow and sleep at night.
Thank you. Mr. Boykin?
Mr. Chair, on the heels of this historic win for the rural community in Charleston County and the Ag Preservation District, I would like to make the following request of planning staff to research and present to council what practical tools may be available to strengthen the urban growth boundary through the utilization of intergovernmental agreements, memorandums of understanding, and other means available to further formalize the urban growth boundary for council's consideration. I would also ask the request planning staff to begin working with municipalities to adopt the urban growth boundary for those jurisdictions that have yet to adopt it. Thank you.
All right. I think we can You have that in writing? Okay. Give that to the clerk. Can you read that? We don't need a motion for that, do we?
No, sir, it's
We can
just an
bring that-
instruction to staff. I think
Right.
staff may want to bring it back for all of council to vote on, but we can do that.
Sounds good. Thank you, Mr. Boykin. Reverend Middleton?
Yes, just congratulations to all of our 2024 graduates from the various high schools in our Tri-County
Thank you,
area. And to our school personnel trying to end the school year well, and to the parents and communities that support our children in schools.
Thank you. Mr. Moody?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Most of us know I got a debate with my friend, Mr. Pryor. Everybody knows we talk every day. We're probably going to talk in the morning, but I disagree with you. You know, my concern, Mr. Pryor and anybody else, is not, again, over the historic settlement communities, Wadmalaw. Mr. Evans told you last week that if there's a cloud on your property, that its value goes down. That's just simple economics. So when you throw around the words like moratorium and down zone, you are crushing people's net worth. And it doesn't matter what PDs and all this kind of nonsense. Mr. Tisdale is going to put through an application. Mr. Pryor, I trust you. I know you will, because you always said you would approve it if he came back. But I guarantee you it'll probably be a 5-4 vote, or it'll be a close vote. People won't want to let him out. Now that he's going to come forward, I guarantee you there'll be votes not to let him out.
I think it'll be unanimous.
I hope so. I hope it is. I hope I'm wrong. I'd love to eat crow on this, but I don't think that's going to be the case. It's the same thing when people have tried to get out of the historic preservation communities. You know, we just throw a net over and gobble up all these people, and somebody raises their hand and wants to get out, and we say no. Their property has been impaired. It's a property rights issue. And this council can't talk housing affordability. And you're right, Mr. Pryor, there was an article. It's $58,900 is what's considered low income now. My kids can't move here. They can't live inside 526 in West Ashley because there's no supply. It's simple economics. And when you restrict use on properties around, you're restricting the supply. And that's simple economics. So we're going to hear about this moratorium again. I feel certain, because I'm not going to get into that. But anyway, we'll talk in the morning. We always do.
Yeah.
We'll kiss and make up in the morning.
I ain't mad at you.
Thank you,
brother.
Mr. Sass.
Like they say, I ain't mad at you.
Thank you. Mr. Darby?
Thank you, Mr. Sass. Most recently, I guess within the past year or so, from different members of the council here, we are so quick and easy to call for questions. And call for the question does have its place. It does. If Mr. Boykin and I decide to get into a strong debate, it doesn't mean that we are materially or substantially causing any disruption to have a call for question. Again, it has its place, and we shouldn't use it for transient things. That's what we do on council, is debate. If it were to get contentious and materially, substantially disruptive, of course. But when we have the conversations, I wish that we would not rush too quickly to call for the question. My second point is, I asked, when I saw the two major cultures out here tonight, I asked Reverend Middleton, who is my neighbor? That's what I asked him, and he simply did this gesture. And the substance of that gesture said, it is to whom anyone could be neighborly to. And I just wish that those folk who are well-to-do would evince the same concern for others as they would for themselves. I wish the well-to-do from the Watermelon Island and the Kiowa and the Seabrook would have some type of concern for those folks on 10 Mile and Snowden and whatnot. I just don't see that. You know, every Sunday morning we talk about the love of God and the brotherhood of man and the love of Jesus Christ, and yet come down Monday, we can't show that love for someone who's distressed. It's sad that those well-to-do aren't concerned about the poor who can't even get sewer. I simply have and I'm not bringing my religion into this, but I have a fundamental problem with that, because everyone is my neighbor. So I just wanted to put that out there, because there was a time or two that we could have hurt the well-to-do with the medical plaza. I didn't do it. Didn't do it. And that's a well-to-do group. They now know how to taste to have things infringe upon you, wherein African Americans have been eating and digesting it for hundreds of years, and you're now just tasting it, and now you're all in this uproar. So I've just asked those who are well-to-do to please evince some concern for those who are less fortunate.
Thank you. Mr. Kabrowski?
I just want to thank again all the people who came out from Guatemala tonight, and I just hope it sets an example for the rest of the county, for everybody who feels they're being overrun by massive subdivisions and overdevelopment. We're asking soon to go out to ask for a sales tax referendum to deal with overdevelopment. And I think it reminds me of how this density bonus vote transpired. It reminds me a lot of before I got on county council, the fight to save our maritime forest and Sullivan's Island. At first, the vote was very much against us, as it was initially here. We didn't feel we had a chance to beat this. That's how the vote initially went in the first two rounds, and eventually people came out, let their voices heard, and the election came, and then unanimously we saved the forest. And it was the same process here. It was only because of people coming out and voicing their opinion that we reversed what we initially voted 2 times to do here. So I think it's a tribute to the people here, and I hope, again, that sets an example. And in terms of housing and what happens in rural areas, if we didn't do this moratorium for 10 Mile in those areas, this 2 weeks ago when the Post and Courier, the real estate pullout section had the new development that just got created in northern Mount Pleasant. The way it was written, it says that northern Mount Pleasant bleeds into Allendale, which has a moratorium. These weren't affordable housing. These were lots that started at $1 million. If we don't stop the development in the rural areas, people like we saw today will be priced out. They're not developing subdivisions of affordable housing. It would be $1 million homes. The tax rates will go up. People would no longer being able to live where they are. And to follow up on what Mr. Darby said, I feel we are in the position of being the town council for people that live in rural, unincorporated areas. That's our responsibility to treat them. They don't have a town council like the city of Charleston or North Charleston. And to Mr. Darby's point, I'd like the staff to come up with a plan, or at least to let us know what is the holdup for Snout and that with the sewer and everything. This to give us kind of a report on the status and what has to happen, whether we have to provide resources or, because again, if people don't have sewer, they don't have the quality of life that others have, we're in the place of being the town council and the voice for the people in those areas because they don't have a town council. And I'd like to see what legal responsibilities we have to do what normal town councils would do, because they don't have that. This, like we said, if Guatemala had their own town council, we in effect are their town council. So it's up to us to help fulfill those. I just would like to know the status of where that's at, what role we can play, if any, and where to go on that would be, I think, a fair thing to ask, because that's our job. And if we aren't doing that for them, there's no other elected officials to do that, as I understand our role. Because we do that for unincorporated areas, and I just, I hope we see more communities come out, like to hear, like we did from Guatemala, not just those who, from developers and those that make money off what we do, but for those who actually live. There's not, the quality of life isn't necessarily the same as who, I think they fought to preserve a way of life that they love, and we helped facilitate that. But again, it was only because of the public pressure and outgrowth that happened, because the first 2 votes were very much different. And I like to think this is a way that people can speak out, and I hope it encourages people all over the county to do likewise. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kabrowski. Mr. Administrator?
No, sir.
Ms. Ham?
No, sir.
Mr. Kabrowski, I'll let you know that we are going to have some education next week for about Snowden. Ms. Ham is putting together something for us to discuss and to look at, to bring y'all all up to speed on that. And we certainly can I talked to Mr. Mitchum today. He'd be willing to come talk to us as well to explain a little bit more about the fairground situation than you heard tonight. And so, those are items that are on the horizon. I'd like to say for the record that I'm very I'm very happy that we got this behind us tonight. That third reading, I think we made the right choice. I think we got the right thing done for the people on Wadmalaw. And I think that I'm very happy that it was a unanimous vote. So I want to thank y'all for that. I want to thank Dave Abrams. I want to thank Mr. Campbell and Emergency Management for the great job they've done for their recognition today. They do a good job for us 24/7. They're on the job all the time. And I really appreciate what they do, along with other first responders as well. So that's all for me tonight. Do I hear a motion to adjourn? Thank you.
Appreciate your leadership, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you again.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, sir. Yep. No, it is. And Teddy and I talk all the time. But it is just a difference because it's, I keep going back to Wallace.
Did you ever get in touch with the person about the email?
He probably didn't answer the phone.
All right, I'll see y'all.
See you, Ted.